Something a little bit different on this episode, something a little bit different to what we normally do. So this is a Vauxhall Viva Magnum, it's a 1974, and it is a Magnum Force tribute car. This has been laid up in a garage for the past 37 years, hasn't turned a wheel. It was full of dust when we got it. I'll drop some pictures in of the garage it was found in when it was covered in dust. It has been caught in the rain, getting over here on the back of the recovery truck, which has washed a lot of it off. It does look a lot cleaner in the videos than it actually is. I've just put some wheel cleaner on the wheels to let that soak in, try and get some of this nasty stuff off. We're going to get this to go clean very soon. So this is running a 2.3 slant motor, which is the original engine to this car. It's only done 51,000 miles, which is obviously not a lot for a car of this age, and it's got some very, very interesting history about this car. So I'll take you for a little bit of a look around it and show you some of the airbrushing, what's been done. It's difficult to see out here in the rain. You can see it's got this sort of pearlescent crinkle effect into the paint. Now this was actually airbrushed by the one and only Sir Captain Tom Moore back in the late 70s, early 80s I believe, as the story goes. So I'm going to do a little bit of digging and find out a little bit more on that. So it is a very, very rare car indeed, and it would be nice to know if it was in fact airbrushed by Captain Tom Moore. It's got some pearlescent highlights up in the corners again here. It's pretty difficult to see in this weather. Really, really rough out here today. A bit more airbrushing there on the back. So the plan with this, basically, we're not going to be going too far into this car. We're going to be trying to get it running, driving, stopping, and get it somewhat solid, and try and get it to obviously run and drive and move under its own steam. As I said, this car has been stood for the past 37 years in a garage, so we will be doing the general stuff like putting some fresh oil in it, taking the plugs out, having a little look down the bores, possibly take the carb off, clean the carb out, obviously get some fresh fuel in it, probably run it out of a drum or a petrol can just to eliminate the tank, because that tank will be full of rust after all these years. What a cool looking car that is. I'll take you for a little look inside. Look at that. It's got the 70s plush red velvet all inside there. Now I believe this interior has been changed. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe this isn't a Magnum interior. As the story goes, the interior was changed, I believe, to suit more of the interior, because the original seats was a different colour. So these seats have been put in to tie into the look they were going for with the colours of this car. So she's only done 51,000 miles. It is a little bit worse for wear in here, and it is quite damp and mouldy, as you would expect for a car that's sat in a garage for many, many years. The roof liner is a little bit torn up that side, but I think that will tuck in back behind the seal. And the rest of the roof liner isn't too bad. We are going to be hoovering all this out and giving it a little bit of a clean. She has suffered with some rust. Again, in the arches, there's a bit of rust in there and into the lower rear quarter, but on the whole, it's not actually that bad. I've restored a lot worse, that is for sure. Same again around here, there's a little bit of rust just in this lower rear quarter. The rest of it forward is actually pretty solid. The chassis looks solid, and it's just starting to go into the rear arch there as well. We'll give the bonnet a lift, and there we have the original 2.3 slant motor. single carb. Inner wings actually don't look too bad. We're going to be giving this a wash under here as well, and they're pretty solid. I know some of you will probably have a moan at me for washing this engine, but come on guys, let's face it, this has been parked up for 37 years in a damp garage. It's not like this engine hasn't been damp for a long time. It is going to get stripped. Carb and stuff are going to come off anyway. I will bag the end of that air filter, but I'm not particularly bothered at this point about getting a little bit of water in the engine. All the oil is going to be dropped, and we will be going through that when we come to get it running. I'll give you a little look in the boot. Again, fairly solid in there. The guy who found this car had to take one of the drums off because the brake shoes was actually seized on. But again, in there, quite solid. What a big boot that is. There's no really any concerning rust in there, so that's a bonus. Right, so I'm going to give this a quick wash. Let's get some of this grime off it that's been on it for the past 37 years. Give it a good washing off and get it inside, and we'll start to assess it. Right, so she's in the unit. The wheels have come up pretty well, to be fair. I use some acid-free wheel cleaner on them, which I get from a local valeting firm. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. It's not as clean in person as it does look on the videos, I will admit, but the car's been set up for 37 years. That's come up pretty well. Now the plan for this is, as I was saying earlier, basically we're going to be getting it running and driving and stopping. It is tax and MOT exempt, so we can legally drive it on the road if we wanted to once we've got it running. We are going to try and preserve the paint on this. We're not going to sort of go to any extent sort of painting it or anything like that. I think this car deserves to stay as it is. It is a bit of motoring history really, and again, as I was saying earlier, it is airbrushed by Sir Captain Tom Moore himself. I do need to do a little bit more digging on that and see if there's any history or any more proof of that. This has just come from the guy who owned this originally, that this car was painted by Sir Captain Tom Moore, although it does say artwork by Tony on the back, but apparently that was his nickname, and I'm not sure again how true that is. So next stage for this, guys, is I'm going to put a battery on it and we're going to see if we can get any life into this. I have turned it over by hand so it isn't seized. I have checked the oil, it has got oil in it, albeit 30 odd year old oil, but we aren't going to start this car up at this point. We're just going to see if we get any life, see if the starter motor still works, try and turn it over. If the starter motor works and it does turn over, then we're going to check if it's got a spark, and at least then we know we've got pretty much what we need to get this thing to run. Then we can look at getting a clean fuel feed to it and cleaning out the fuel filter pot and stuff like that, because if you look in there, it is still actually full of fuel, but again, that is going to be dirty old nasty fuel, so we don't want to be running it on that. So I'm going to bang a battery on it. Let's see if we get any life. We'll see if any of the lights work, see if the ignition lights come on, see if it cranks over, and then we'll be checking for a spark. So unfortunately this car didn't come with any keys. The keys have been lost. I do have the logbook, but the old boy did misplace the keys, so we had to take the barrel off to get the steering lock off. So all I'm going to do is going to take out these two screws from the back of there to release the ignition cap, and then we can get a screwdriver or some sort of something in there just to turn the cap to see if we get some ignition on, once we've fitted a battery obviously. So there is our ignition cap. We should be able to get a flathead screwdriver in that to turn that over. So let's get a battery on it and then we'll see if we get any life. Right, so we've got our ignition cap, we've got our screwdriver. Let's see if we get any life. Oh yes, we do have ignition lights. I think it is in gear because the handbrake doesn't work, so let's just check it's in neutral. She's in neutral now. Let's see if we get anything. Oh, we do. She turns over. Happy days. So she turns over, which is a good start. So we now know at least we've got power to the starter motor, the trigger wire works, the starter motor isn't seized, so that is a good start. So I think what we'll do next, we're going to have a quick look and run around the lights, see what sort of power we've got, and then we'll pop the spark plugs out and see if we have any spark. Now I need to figure out where the lights are on this. Oh, wipers work. So the lights are here. Do we have indicators? No, we don't have indicators, so we probably have a faulty flasher unit. We don't have a horn. What's this? Fans. I don't know what that is. Oh, we have fans, but I think the motor's a little bit seized. Does the radio work? Yes, it does. Brilliant. I think. Oh, where's the damn light switch on this thing? Is that it? All right. So I'm guessing them are the lights. Let's go outside, guys, and see if we have any light. Let's have a little walk around the back. We do have lights. Very dull, but they are on. Happy days. Do we have anything on the front, I wonder? We've got a running light, side light, one spotlight this side and one headlight. So we do have some form of lights, but has to be expected for a car that stood so long. I bet you that's just bulbs. I bet it just wants a couple of bulbs in that. Oh, that's seriously tight. Oh. We have a bit of a problem there, guys. One of the plugs is actually shattered. It didn't feel too good when the HT lead come off, to be honest. There you go. These plugs are extremely tight. So that one had actually shattered. I think I might have just kicked it over on the ratchet a little bit, but it was extremely tight. But to be fair, it didn't feel very good that when I pulled the HT lead off it. But it will be getting changed anyway, so it's no big issue. At least it's come out. These are very, very tight indeed. Quite awkward to get your hand in as well. And this one might have just shattered as well. Three down, one to go. And that one has shattered as well. What do you reckon, guys? Are we going to have a spark? What's that in there? Crank it over and have a look, shall we? So it doesn't appear that we have a spark. Probably coil's dead, I would imagine. I'm going to take the king lead off and see if we get anything. Oh, again, that's not very good, is it? See if we get anything out of the coil. back in there. A moment. Let's see if we get anything jumping directly off the coil. Right, so I don't appear to have any spark whatsoever there, guys, even directly from the coil. I've earthed this out just over the top of the engine here. I could see it through the little gap there as I was turning it over, and there's nothing coming out of that king lead. So I'm just going to test the powers to this coil, see if we've got 12 volt going to this coil. If we have, then it's likely that the coil itself is dead. I do have one of these in stock, I'm pretty sure it do, so I might have to dig that out. But let's get the voltmeter and let's see what reading we're getting on there. Right, so the ignition is on. Let's turn our voltmeter on, zero that out. Let's just test this on the battery first. We're getting 12 volt out of our battery. Let's have a little look, see what we get in our coil. So we're getting absolutely nothing there, guys. So we're getting no feed to that coil at all. So I would say there lies our problem. I've got the voltmeter just wedged up there and I've got it on the coil, wedged into the coil. I'm just going to turn the car over and see if I get any feed on cranking. So we've still got absolutely nothing there, guys, even on cranking, so that coil definitely isn't getting a feed. Right, so at least we've got this car turning over. We know the starter motor and everything like that works. It's not seized up, which is a massive bonus. We know some of the lights work. We reckon it probably just wants a couple of bulbs to get the others working, possibly a flasher unit for the indicators. We do know that it hasn't got feed to the coil, so that's going to be the reason for the no spark. So the next step for this would be to start tracing that wiring back, see where it goes, make sure there's no breaks in the wiring or any fuses gone or anything like that. That's going to be the next step for this, but unfortunately it's not going to be on this episode, guys. The next episode on this build is going to be will this car start after 37 years of being stood up. So that is going to be in the next episode. Hopefully we'll get this thing running and driving for the next episode. Let us know in the comments what you think we should do with this car. Personally, I think we should leave it as it is, run it as it is, keep the patina, keep the history of this car. Maybe at a push, we could flat this back and literally just lacquer over everything and just give it a fresh shine and just leave all the dings and little scratches and blemishes and all the patina on this car that tells the story of this car, and just leave it exactly as it is. As I was saying, we will be getting it running and driving. Perhaps do the welding on it. We'll see what we're like for time. Again, we do have the Ferrari build coming back very, very soon, so we will need to jump on that when that comes back. But yeah, I think we're going to leave this one here, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Again, drop us some comments. Let us know what you think about this car. If you know any history of this car, my email address is in the description. Please pop me an email with any history or any old pictures you've got of this car from back in the day, or any information you might have about the paint work or the airbrushing even being done by Sir Captain Tom Moore. That would be absolutely fantastic if anybody's got any information on that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. Give us a like, give us a share. Make sure you watch this build. Plenty more footage of this to come. We'll see you all on the next video.